You've just started playing Warframe. You have a weird robotic suit to which the game owes its namesake and a variety of Mark I weaponry. You are itching to use something that does more damage than the tickle gun, the Braddon, or those reincarnated butter knives, the kunai. When your friend abandons you after telling you nothing substantial other than, buy a weapon blueprint, you see it. The Burston. Stout, powerful, and you may actually like burst weapons. 3 rounds per shot, 10 points of each physical damage type per projectile. It seems like a good option, and a balanced weapon, until you get to around level 30 enemies with it. Then you start to question its lethality, and even ask the very real, very valid question, can you beat Corrupted Vor with only a Burston? For this challenge, I can only deal damage to my target, Corrupted Vor, with the Burston. As with previous challenges, I can use gear items to supplement my performance throughout the level, as in some cases it will be the only way I can restore health and energy. In my first attempt, I opened fire upon the first enemy I came across, and very quietly whimpered. Had my robot I had brought along with me thrown a small rock at him, he would have been closer to death as a result than whatever I had just fired out of my confetti cannon did to him. That was only a foreshadowing of what was to come. Corrupted Vor showed up in the next 5 minutes, and I used the next 5 minutes after that to discover that the Burston didn't like the idea of getting past his shields, so it didn't, and I failed my first attempt. Thus, I decided that I needed more experience with the Burston, so I brought it along to the fun game of follow the Saryn Warframe around while you collect affinity. I used my companion, Kiwi, without a weapon in these challenges other than her tether grenades, which don't deal damage to my desired target anyway. I've explained the integral part of my survivability the walking toaster provides me before, but will briefly touch on it here. She occasionally heals me, and in return, I let her keep a wall socket to charge every night and the password for Netflix. It's a win-win. Peter might disagree, but she's a robot and thus outside of their jurisdiction. Back to the challenge. My next attempt, now with some mod capacity with me, I figured it was time to try something new. I knew that the physical damage types would not help me, that I needed some elemental combination. Something to improve incoming damage to my enemies. You know what's coming. I decided on viral damage. Yes, I know, with everything going on it could be considered in bad taste, but I needed something that could make single target focusing viable. Viral works by increasing the incoming damage to the health of an enemy the more viral status applies to the target. What's more, this damage type was effective against cloned flesh, something that Corrupted Vor is burdened with. Alas, as I would soon discover, his shields ate viral damage for breakfast like I did Honey Nut Cheerios once upon a time. Still, I did manage to break through them, and was actually able to make him hurt. For a little bit. My next problem was dozens of tiny ones. I had been pelting Corrupted Vor with so many spitballs like an 8th grade bully that I ran out of them, and I had to rush around to go find more, because the ammo I was going to use in my gear wheel had been eaten by my co-star in a previous episode of Can You Beat, and I ultimately failed this mission too. I came out of this needing 2 things, the first of which being that I forgot Kiwi. She was dinking around eating my AA batteries in the orbiter the whole mission, the bread box. The second of which is that I needed more damage output. Where would I get this but from the heaviest of boys, Rhino, who kept not only a straight damage buff in exchange for some energy, but also some survivability skills. Of course, you the viewer, and even me wouldn't be able to tell, seeing as the enemies in this attempt ripped through my iron skin and shields like a cat shreds slightly damp single-ply toilet paper when its human slaves aren't home. But I gained something infinitely more valuable. I discovered the crowd control of Rhino Stomp, which suspended enemies in time long enough for me to pelt them with enough virus paintballs to kill them. There was another problem in this run. It's never easy. Well, except for a few early videos, but again I ran out of ammunition as I was closing on victory, and I was forgetting to apply my damage buff. Even better was that I kept dying, more than I died with Wisp in my Colstar video. I failed this attempt, but I had hope. I knew I could beat Vor. It was just a matter of time now. My next attempt, I was eager. I was going to take down Vor, and I knew I could do it. It was only because I ran out of ammunition by forgetting to use damage buffs that I failed before. I sped into battle with renewed vigor before suddenly being jerked out of my fever dream of success by running out of oxygen before the 5-minute mark, immediately failing the mission due to my own incompetence. It was at this point in the run that I discovered that the challenge was not as much whether or not you could actually beat Corrupted Vor with the Burston, but whether or not I myself could get enough brain cells to fire in a row to beat Corrupted Vor with the Burston. Still, the time was coming for Vor to get his triple serving of Burston bullets, and the only thing that would keep me from achieving that goal was my own hand. I berated both of them for good measure, and set out to take on Corrupted Vor yet again. Here, I discovered that there was actually no limit to how many times I could press forward to halt the enemies trying to throw ballistic breadcrumbs at my Warframe, and so I rhino-stopped them hard enough to make them rethink their life decisions of posthumous slavery to a dead race of golden elves. It was not enough to get me to do the same, though, so I continued the pattern of stomping around like an angry void toddler who wanted another candy bar. But instead of a candy bar, it was the head of a Grineer who had been resurrected by the power of who knows what and plot armor. I hit the 5-minute mark, and Corrupted Vor revealed himself to me for the fourth and final time this challenge. He had taunted me enough. I was sick of his voice, and also probably sick of using the Burston too, but that was probably the viral damage. But this isn't about the starter gun anymore. This was about my pride. This was about my honor. This was about whether or not I could beat Corrupted Vor with the Burston and only the Burston, and I discovered something truly glorious. Rhino's time-halting stomp works on Vor. It meant I could finally not only stay alive long enough to land my shots, but I could buff my damage output from spitballs to rubber bands, and ultimately take down Corrupted Vor by only using the Burston. The fight was stupendous, and ultimately I decided it would be crowned with a simple bow. Thank you for watching, getting this far. I do hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you liked it, why not just give it a like, and if you really liked it, why not just go onto all your accounts that you use for logging on to conspicuous sites and like it with those accounts too. Anyway, you have a good one. Try not to die, as the world itself is doing viral damage, not just limited to the Burston. Good luck, have a good one. And I'm falling.